You ever finish a game and just sit there like, man, that was perfect? Well, today I'm showing you 20 games that hit that 10 out of 10 level, at least for me, and honestly probably for most of us too. It's my personal list, but feel free to drop yours in the comments, and let's just talk about some amazing games we all love. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves is the game that set the bar for action-adventure titles and just made everyone else look like they were trying to catch up. This is the game that proved Uncharted wasn't just a fluke, it's a masterclass in pacing, storytelling, and non-stop action that grabs you by the shirt and doesn't let go until you see the credits roll. First off, Nathan Drake? Yeah, he's your classic wisecracking adventurer, but he's so much more than that. You get to feel his exhaustion, his joy, his fear. He's not just the action hero who does everything perfectly. He messes up, he gets hurt, and you actually feel for him. That's what makes him stand out compared to every other action hero out there. The game does not waste your time. From the very first chapter, you're running, jumping, climbing, and shooting your way through jaw-dropping environments. It never lets you catch your breath. You're leaping across cliffs, fighting bad guys, solving puzzles. All of it flows so smoothly, you don't even realize how much time you spent playing until you look up and it's already been 5 hours. That's the magic of Uncharted 2. The set pieces in this game are insane. The train sequence, one of the most heart-pounding moments in gaming history. You're hanging on for dear life, dodging explosions, climbing your way through a freaking moving train, hanging off a cliff. It's the kind of action you don't see in many games, and it makes you feel like you're right there trying not to fall off. And the graphics, for a PS3 game, it was ahead of its time. Even now, it still holds up in a big way. The environments feel real, like you're actually exploring these ancient ruins and jungles instead of just looking at a screen. Plus, the music and sound design really sell the adventure vibe. You're not just playing a game, you're living through this wild ride. Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of those games that sets the bar so high it's hard to even see the top of the mountain from where other games stand. It's an absolute beast of a game, and every time you think you've seen it all, it pulls you deeper into its world, making you realize that it's not just a game, it's a living, breathing universe. First off, the story. Holy hell, the story. You're Arthur Morgan, a member of the Vanderlyn gang, and right from the start, you're sucked into this gritty, emotional journey that doesn't just tell you a story, it makes you feel it. Arthur's struggle between loyalty to his gang and realizing they're heading down a dangerous road is something you'll feel in your gut. It's one of those stories that sticks with you long after you finish the game. The characters, they're all memorable, each one with their own unique personalities and struggles. You'll love some, hate others, but all of them leave an impression.
By some hill country sheriff stealing a chicken, I think it was.
The world of Red Dead Redemption 2 is just insane. You're not just playing through a bunch of missions, you're living in this massive open world environment that feels real. Like if you stop and look around, you'll see everything from wildlife to weather changes to NPCs going about their daily lives. You can hunt, fish, rob trains, or just get lost in the beauty of the game's wilderness. The attention to detail is next level. You can literally feel the cold when you're out in the snow, or sweat as you ride through the heat of the desert. It's like Rockstar took everything they learned from Grand Theft Auto and turned it up to 11, with the added depth of the Old West. And the gameplay, it's all about the immersion. The shooting feels solid, the horseback riding is smooth, and the way you interact with the world is intuitive but not oversimplified. Every interaction feels weighty, like there are consequences to what you do. You want to play the hero? Go ahead, help out strangers, but be ready to carry the weight of your choices. You want to be a ruthless outlaw? You can go down that path too, but don't be surprised when it all starts catching up to you. Every action, every decision matters, and that's a rare thing in games today.
Now you keep your mouth shut.
Let's not forget about the side activities. Sure, you could stick to the main story, but you'll be doing yourself a huge disservice. There are so many things to do in the game, like hunting legendary animals, playing poker, treasure hunting, or even just sitting around the campfire and listening to stories. It's all part of the experience, and it gives the game an incredible sense of depth. And if the story and world weren't enough, the visuals? Damn. It's one of the best looking games ever made, whether it's the sun setting over the mountains or the snow drifting over a quiet town. Every scene feels like it could be a postcard. The sound design is just as impressive. The soundtrack is subtle but perfect, and the way the world sounds, animals, gunshots, footsteps in the mud, everything is so rich and real.
What matters?
Do as you're goddamn told.
It is us or him.
God of War 2018. God of War 2018 is like a total game changer, seriously. You know how Kratos used to be all about just smashing through gods and causing chaos? Well, in this game, he's got a whole new vibe. He's trying to be a better dad, trying to not destroy everything in his path, and that change is huge. Instead of just being this super angry guy, you get to see him as a dad trying to teach his son, Atreus, how to survive. And Atreus, he's no slouch either. This isn't some kid who just tags along for the ride. He's actually super useful, and watching him grow up and learn from Kratos is one of the coolest things in the game. The story itself is pretty simple at first. Kratos and Atreus are on this big adventure to scatter Kratos' wife's ashes. But, like every story in games, it doesn't stay simple for long. They end up facing gods, monsters, and all kinds of crazy stuff. What's great about this game is that it's not about saving the world or some big crazy fight. It's about family, trying to do right by the people you love, and finding out who you really are. It feels real, you know? Now, let's talk about the gameplay. It's so smooth, like butter on toast. The combat is super fun, and you've got this awesome axe called the Leviathan Axe. You can throw it and call it back like Thor, and it never gets old. You'll be smashing through enemies left and right, and it feels so good when you land that perfect hit. The boss fights? Dude, they're epic. These fights are huge with awesome music and crazy battles where you're on the edge of your seat the whole time. One of the coolest things in the game is the relationship between Kratos and Atreus. At the start, Kratos is all tough and grumpy, but as you play, you start to see this softer side to him. He's trying to teach Atreus the right way, even though he's not always sure of what that is. Atreus, on the other hand, is trying to figure out who he is and how to be a good son. Their relationship feels super real, and it's one of the best parts of the game. It's not just about fighting, there's real emotion here. The world of God of War is another big reason this game is so awesome. The 9 realms are all totally different, and they each feel like their own world. There's this huge snow-covered area called Niflheim, and then there's this fiery place called Muspelheim. Every place looks amazing, and you'll find yourself just looking around and taking everything in. Plus, there are a ton of secrets to find, so it's not just about getting to the next. So you're always exploring and discovering something new. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt didn't just raise the bar, it grabbed that thing, snapped it in half, and told every other RPG to catch up or get lost. This game is just on another freaking level. It's the kind of thing you start playing thinking, yeah, I'll just check it out, and suddenly you're 80 hours deep, you care way too much about some cursed tree spirit, and you're trying to figure out which dialogue option won't ruin someone's life. It's that good. Geralt of Rivia. This dude's a walking legend. He's grumpy, chill, sarcastic, and still manages to be a total badass, and the world around him feels alive. Like you ride into some random village and here we go, there's a whole story there. People with real problems, side quests that hit harder than most AAA main stories. None of that filler garbage. And don't even get me started on the DLCs. Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine could have been full-price games on their own. That's how much love CD Projekt Red put into them. They didn't just phone it in, they went full beast mode. The combat's not some crazy flashy hack and slash, but it's got depth. You're using potions, oils, traps, actually thinking about how to handle different monsters. It's not just mindless button mashing. It makes you feel like you earned every win. If you've somehow skipped The Witcher 3 all this time, man, you're missing out. This is one of those once-in-a-generation titles that still makes other games look like they're in beta.
Now don't fuck this up.
The SOMA. You wake up in an underwater research facility completely alone, or so it seems. SOMA is one of those games that doesn't just feel like a game, it feels like you are really inside its world. From the very start, you wake up in a strange, dark underwater research station called Pathos 2, and something is very, very wrong. The place is falling apart, the lights flicker, and you don't know why you're there. Right away, the game makes you feel lost, confused, and completely alone. The atmosphere is what makes SOMA so immersive. Everything around you feels real. The sound of water dripping, the distant noises of machines humming, and the strange strange echoes in the hallways. You can hear the deep ocean pressing against the station, making it feel like you are trapped at the bottom of the sea. As you explore, you find notes, computer logs, and recordings that tell you what happened before you arrived. The more you learn, the more you realize how creepy and sad this place really is.
I always got into trouble with Strawmeyer when someone killed themselves.
But SOMA is not just a scary game, it's also a game that makes you think. It asks big questions like what makes someone human? Is it their body or their mind? If your brain was copied into a machine, would that still be you? These questions make the story feel much deeper, and as you go through the game, you have to make choices that will make you stop and think. And then there are the monsters. They aren't just mindless creatures chasing you, they are part of the story too. Some of them used to be people, and now they are trapped in strange robotic bodies. You can't always fight them, so you have to sneak past them, holding your breath and hoping they don't see you. This makes everything feel even more real because you're not a hero with a gun, you're just a person trying to survive. If you want a game that completely pulls you into its world, SOMA is perfect. It makes you feel like you are really in this deep, dark ocean station, and when you finally finish the story, it will stay in your mind for a long time. Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is one of those rare games that makes you feel like a true explorer. From the moment you wake up by the campfire staring up at a sky full of endless possibilities, you're not just playing a game, you're stepping into a universe filled with mystery, wonder, and discovery. There's no hand-holding, no waypoints, no missions telling you what to do. It's just you, your tiny wooden spaceship, and an entire solar system waiting to be understood. What makes Outer Wilds so immersive is how it respects your curiosity. Every planet, moon, and strange space phenomenon is like a puzzle piece, and the only way to put the story together is to go out and explore. You'll land on a planet and notice something strange, maybe ruins buried in sand, a city that disappears before your eyes, or a black hole that sucks up anything in its path. There are no enemies, no combat, just the thrill of figuring things out. Everything you learn feels personal, like a secret that only you have uncovered. And the world isn't just sitting there waiting for you, it's alive. Planets change over time, a deep canyon fills with sand, cutting off certain paths. A fragile comet slowly melts as it gets closer to the sun. A giant ocean world is constantly struck by powerful storms. It makes every moment feel important, like you're part of something much bigger than yourself. But Outer Wilds isn't just about exploring cool planets. At the heart of it all is a deep emotional mystery. You're stuck in a time loop, reliving the last 22 minutes before the sun explodes. Every loop, you wake up at the campfire again, knowing that the universe will end soon. It's both terrifying and beautiful. There's no way to stop it, but maybe, just maybe, you can understand why it's happening, and that's where the real magic of the game comes in. Learning the truth about the ancient race that came before, their search for something greater, and what it all means for you. The music, the art style, the writing, it all comes together perfectly to create a sense of loneliness, wonder, and adventure. The simple act of sitting by a fire, roasting marshmallows while staring at the stars, can feel just as meaningful as uncovering some huge secret hidden deep in space. The game doesn't just tell you a story, it makes you feel like you are truly living it. By the time you reach the end of Outer Wilds, you won't just remember it as a game, you'll remember it as a journey, an experience that sticks with you long after the credits roll. It's the kind of game that makes you think about life, time, and the beauty of discovery. If you ever wanted to feel like a real astronaut exploring the unknown, this is the closest you'll ever get. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. You wake up in this huge, beautiful land called Hyrule, and guess what? No one's holding your hand. You can literally go anywhere. See that giant mountain in the distance? You can climb it. That weird glowing thing over there? You can check it out. The game doesn't tell you what to do. It just drops you into this massive open world and says, go have fun. And oh boy, fun is an understatement. This world is insane. The wind blows through the grass, animals run around doing their thing, and even the weather changes, but it's not just pretty, it actually matters. If it's raining, climbing rocks get slippery. If you're in the snow without warm clothes, you'll start freezing. You have to think like a real adventurer. And cooking? Yeah, that's a whole thing. You throw some random mushrooms, meat, and spices into a pot, and boom, you've got yourself a meal, or sometimes just a weird mess. But the best part? The crazy stuff you can do. You see a giant metal crate, use your magic magnet powers and throw it at enemies. Want to launch yourself into the air? Drop a bomb, freeze time, hit it a few times, and then jump on top. It's like a science experiment experiment gone wild. The game lets you try anything, and most of the time, it actually works. And the world itself is, it's not just an empty sandbox. There are ruins of old castles, tiny villages where people live their everyday lives, and these mysterious shrines full of puzzles that make you feel like a genius when you solve them. And let's not forget the big bad Calamity Ganon, who's been chilling in the castle, waiting for you to come throw hands. But honestly, the best thing about Breath of the Wild, the sense of adventure never fades. Even after hours and hours of playing, you'll still find new things that make you go, wait, I can do that? It's the kind of game where you get lost in the world, forget about the main quest, and just exist in Hyrule, and that's the magic of it.
You must save her, my daughter.
The Talos Principle 2. Okay, imagine waking up one day and realizing you're a robot. But not just any robot. You're in this huge, beautiful world full of ruins, sci-fi buildings, and puzzles that mess with your brain. That's the Talos Principle 2. It's a game where you're trying to figure out who you are, why you exist, and what it even means to be alive. But don't worry, it's not just some deep thinking lecture. It's actually really fun and kinda mind-blowing. The main thing you do here is solve puzzles. And I don't mean those easy match 3 types. Nope. These puzzles make you feel like a genius when you solve them. You'll be using lasers, energy fields, gravity tricks, even time travel. Sometimes you'll stare at a puzzle like there's no way this is possible, and then BAM! You figure it out and suddenly you feel like the smartest person alive. But what really makes the game immersive is the world itself. It's not just a bunch of random levels. You're actually exploring this giant open world, moving between different areas like futuristic cities, ancient temples, and lush forests. It's the kind of place where you just want to stop and take in the view because it all looks so cool.
Great towers rising towards the sky.
And let's talk about the story, because this game doesn't just want to challenge your brain, it wants to make you think about life. The game is always asking you big questions like, what makes a person? Can a robot have a soul? If there are no humans left, what happens next? It's deep, but in a cool way. You even have conversations with other robots who all have different opinions, and the choices you make actually matter. So if you love puzzle games that feel like an adventure, the Talos Principle 2 is perfect. It sucks you into its world, challenges your brain, and makes you think about stuff in ways you never expected. Plus, let's be real, who doesn't want to feel like a super intelligent robot explorer solving ancient mysteries?
If we believed, if we still had.
The Metro Trilogy. If you ever wanted to experience pure survival in a post-apocalyptic world, these games do it better than almost anything else. Based on Dmitry Glukhovsky's novels, this series throws you into a dark, terrifying, and insanely immersive world where the surface is deadly, monsters lurk in the shadows, and bullets are so rare that they're literally used as currency. Yeah, things are that bad. The story follows Artyom, a guy who grew up in the Moscow metro system after nuclear war wiped out most of humanity. People live in these underground tunnels like rats, trying to survive against not just the horrifying creatures that mutated from radiation, but also other humans, because of course, people are still terrible even after the world ends. Each game, Metro 2033, Last Light, and Exodus, gets bigger, better, and even more immersive. The first two are mostly about sneaking through dark tunnels, listening to every little sound, and praying your flashlight doesn't die while something stalks you from the shadows. The sound design is insane. You'll hear the distant screeches of mutants, the whisper of the wind through crumbling tunnels, and the click, click, click of your Geiger counter reminding you that, yep, you're slowly dying of radiation poisoning. Fun times. Then, Metro Exodus comes along and flips everything upside down. Now you're leaving the metro, exploring the ruined Russian countryside in a semi-open world. But don't get it twisted, it's still a brutal survival experience, just with more freedom. You scavenge for supplies, manually clean your guns to keep them from jamming, and make choices that actually affect the ending. And let's not forget the atmosphere, whether it's trudging through a snowstorm, sneaking past bandits in a desert, or creeping through an abandoned village, this game makes you feel like you're really there. The Metro Trilogy isn't just a shooter, it's a survival simulator that nails the feeling of desperation and isolation. The gas mask mechanic alone is one of the most immersive things ever. When your filter starts running out and your vision gets all foggy and you hear Artyom struggling to breathe, it's straight up panic-inducing. If you love games that pull you into a different world and make you feel like you're actually fighting to survive, Metro is a must-play. Just be ready for some tense moments, low ammo, and the occasional horrifying mutant jumping out of nowhere. Deus Ex Human Revolution. One of the coolest and most immersive cyberpunk games ever made. If you've ever wanted to step into a world where corporations run everything, people are upgrading their bodies with crazy tech, and conspiracies are lurking around every corner, then this is the game for you. You play as Adam Jensen, a guy who starts off as just a regular security dude for a big biotech company, but after a brutal attack leaves him basically dead, he gets forced into a second chance at life, except now he's got mechanical arms, cybernetic vision, and all kinds of insane augmentations that make him feel like a mix of Batman and RoboCop. From that moment on, you're fighting over the future of human evolution, and you're right in the middle of it. What makes human revolution so immersive is the freedom it gives you. Every mission can be approached in multiple ways. You want to go in like a silent ninja, hacking security systems and crawling through air vents? Go for it. You want to be a walking tank, blasting enemies with a minigun arm? That works too. Or maybe you'd rather just talk your way through everything like some futuristic detective? Yep, that's an option too.
Take this and get out of here.
And let's not forget the world building. This game nails the cyberpunk vibe. The streets are filled with neon lights, shady back alley deals, and people debating whether cybernetic implants are a miracle or a curse. The music, straight up banger. It makes you feel like you're in a high-tech noir thriller. But what really sells the immersion is the little thing. The way NPCs react to your choices, the emails you can read on office computers, the TV news segments talking about the consequences of your actions. It all makes the world feel alive and real. And of course, there's Adam Jensen himself, who despite all the chaos somehow manages to sound too cool for everything with his deep, gruff voice. I never asked for this. Yeah, we know Adam, but we're glad we got it anyway. If you're looking for a deep, thought-provoking RPG with insane levels of player choice and a world that sucks you in, Deus Ex: Human Revolution is a must-play. Pentiment. Man, this game is different, like really different from most RPGs out there. It's from Obsidian Entertainment, the same folks who did Fallout New Vegas and Pillars of Eternity, but this is a total change of pace. Instead of epic fantasy or sci-fi, Pentiment throws you way back in time to 16th century Bavaria. You play as Andreas Mahler, a talented artist working in a scriptorium at a monastery. Scriptoriums were basically workshops where they hand-copied books before printing was widespread, so right off the bat, you know this isn't your typical sword and sorcery setup. The game unfolds like a historical mystery. A murder happens in the community and Andreas gets caught up in trying to solve it. But it's not just about finding a killer. The game spans over 25 years, and your choices and the way you investigate the initial crime have long-lasting consequences on the town, the people in it, and even the history of the region. What's super unique about Pentiment is its art style. It looks like a medieval manuscript come to life, with hand-drawn characters and environments that are just gorgeous and really evoke the period. Even the text appears on the screen in a way that mimics old handwriting. It's visually stunning and unlike anything else out there. The gameplay is very narrative focused. You'll be spending a lot of time talking to people, investigating clues, and making dialogue choices that influence the story and your relationships with the other characters. There's no real combat or traditional RPG leveling system. Your progression comes from the knowledge you gain and the impact your decisions have on the community. Pentiment is all about immersing you in this historical setting and letting you unravel its mysteries. You'll learn about the daily lives of people in the 16th century, the religious and political tensions of the time, and the slow march of history. It's a game that really makes you think and consider the consequences of your actions over a long period. A Plague Tale Requiem. This game is like a storybook, but a dark and sometimes sad one. It's the second game in a series, and it continues the story of Amicia and Hugo. They live in medieval France, and there's a terrible plague going around. It's like the Black Death, and it's making everyone sick. Hugo, the little brother, has a special connection to the rats that are spreading the plague. It's a weird and scary connection, and Amicia is trying to find a way to help him. The game is mostly about sneaking around, solving puzzles, and sometimes fighting. Amicia isn't a super strong fighter. She's smart and resourceful. She uses a sling to throw rocks at enemies, and she has other tools she can use, but mostly she tries to avoid fighting altogether. She sneaks past guards and uses distractions to get by. There are also puzzles you have to solve. They often involve using the environment or Hugo's special connection to the rats. Like maybe you need to make the rats move a certain way to open a door or something. The story is really important in this game. It's about Amacia and Hugo and their relationship. They love each other very much and they'll do anything to protect each other. The story is also about the terrible things that people do to each other during times of trouble. It can be pretty sad and upsetting, but it's also a powerful story about hope and survival. The game looks amazing, it's very detailed and realistic, and it makes the world feel very real. It's also pretty creepy. The rats are everywhere and they're really scary. The game does a great job of making you feel like you're really there in the middle of all the danger. So, A Plague Tale: Requiem is a game about a girl and her brother trying to survive a plague. It's a game about sneaking, puzzles, and a powerful story. It's dark and sometimes sad, but it's also a beautiful and moving game. If you like games with a good story, and you don't mind a little bit of scariness, you might like this one. Resident Evil 4. Okay, so in Resident Evil 4, you're Leon, a special agent. He has to rescue the president's daughter, Ashley, who's been kidnapped and taken to a weird village in Spain. Turns out the people there are all messed up, they're like zombies, but they're also kind of different and scarier. The game is about exploring the village and fighting these infected people. It's a mix of scary parts and action parts. You'll be going through creepy houses, farms, and even a big castle. You have to find clues and solve puzzles to figure out what's going on and how to get Ashley out. The fighting is tough. You don't have a lot of bullets, so you have to be smart about how you use them. You can find different weapons like pistols, shotguns, and rifles, and you can even make them better. You can also block attacks and sneak up on enemies, which is helpful. The story is pretty interesting. It's not just about rescuing Ashley, it's about a crazy cult and a strange parasite that's making people crazy. There are a lot of twists and turns, and you'll learn more about what's happening as you play. Ashley's also more helpful in this game. She's not just waiting around to be saved. So, Resident Evil 4 Remake is a game where you explore a scary village, fight creepy monsters, and try to rescue the president's daughter. It's a mix of scary and exciting, and it has a good story. If you like scary games or action games, you'll probably like this one. The Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs is one of the best open-world crime games that most people completely slept on, which is a freaking shame. It's basically GTA in Hong Kong, but with way better combat and a more personal story. You play as Wei Shen, an undercover cop who has to infiltrate the Triads, but it's not just some basic cop vs criminal plot. Wei actually grew up with some of the gang members, so there's this constant struggle between his duty as a cop and his loyalty to people he once called family. The story gets surprisingly heavy, with some brutal twists that'll stick with you. Now, the combat is, here, straight up awesome. Unlike most open world games that rely on guns, this one throws you into fistfights. The hand-to-hand combat is fast, fluid, and brutal. You're chaining punches, counters, and grapples together like you're in a freaking kung fu movie. And the environmental takedowns are so good and chaotic, you can slam a guy's head into a spinning fan, throw someone into a dumpster, or crack their skull against a payphone. It's nasty and gory, but so satisfying. The open world is smaller than something like GTA, but it's incredibly detailed. Hong Kong feels alive and packed. You'll be speeding through neon-lit streets, cutting through night markets, and cruising past towering skyscrapers. The city is dense with life, vendors are shouting, people are gambling in alleyways, and there's this grimy, lived-in vibe that makes it feel authentic. It's the kind of game where you'll wander around just to take in the atmosphere. And let's talk about the driving. It's arcade style and super fun. The cars handle loose and fast, making high-speed chases feel wild. You can drift around tight corners, ram enemy vehicles, and even leap from one car to another, which makes for some insane stunt moments. The bike chases are just as intense. You'll be zipping between cars and kicking riders off their bikes, which is stupidly fun. But what really makes Sleeping Dogs stand out is how much heart it has. Wei Shen is a flawed, relatable character. He's torn between two worlds, and the game actually makes you care about him. The characters around him, like his childhood friend Jackie, are written in a way that makes the betrayals and emotional moments hit harder. It's not just a crime game, it's a story about loyalty, betrayal, and the cost of living a double life. If you love open world crime games and you somehow missed this one, you need to fix that ASAP. It's got fantastic combat, a killer story, and a world world that feels authentic. This is one of those games where you'll get sucked into the world, lose track of time, and end up wondering why the hell they never made a sequel. Baldur's Gate 3.
Is expecting you. Please make your way to the audience.
Baldur's Gate 3 is everything you want in a classic Dungeons & Dragons style RPG, but with a modern twist. It's an absolute masterpiece that's been in the making for years, and trust me, the wait was totally worth it. Set in the iconic Baldur's Gate universe, it takes you on a journey through a world full of deep lore, magic, monsters, and complex characters. You start as a character who's been infected with a dangerous tadpole from a mind flayer, which grants you some powerful but potentially deadly abilities. From there, you're thrown into a world of chaos and intrigue, with your choices shaping everything around you. What's amazing about Baldur's Gate 3 is how much freedom it gives you. It's all about role-playing and making decisions that have real consequences. Want to play as a sneaky rogue who talks their way out of everything? You can do that. Want to charge in as a tanky barbarian and smash enemies into the ground? Yep, that works too. The character creation system is super deep, with tons of classes, races, and abilities to choose from. You can literally shape your character however you want, and it's crazy satisfying to experiment with different builds. Baldur's Gate 3 is all about building relationships. Your companions are more than just people you bring along to fight. They each have rich backstories, their own goals, and their own opinions on the things you do. You get into some deep conversations, have moments of personal growth, and yeah, you might even fall in love with some of them. Or hate them, depending on how you act. The characters feel like real people with their own desires, fears, and motivations, and that really elevates the story. The game's world is also massive and full of things to do, from creepy dungeons and forgotten temples to bustling towns and mysterious forests. There's always something new to discover. It's rich in lore, and you'll find yourself wanting to dig deeper into the history of the world and the characters who inhabit it. Persona 5 Royal. Persona 5 Royal is the kind of game that just clicks and doesn't let go. It's a wild mix of everyday high school life and a crazy supernatural world full of twists and turns. You play as the Joker, a transfer student at Shujin Academy in Tokyo. At first, life seems like a regular high school grind, attending classes, hanging out with friends, dealing with typical teenage stuff. But then you stumble into this hidden world where people's desires get twisted, turning into palaces full of monsters and puzzles. That's where you and your crew, the Phantom Thieves, come in. You've got to infiltrate these palaces, change the hearts of corrupt people, and ultimately save the day. The story is where Persona 5 Royal really hooks you. What starts as small-time heists and changing the hearts of bad people turns into a full-blown conspiracy that has you questioning everything about the world and the people in it. It's got all the drama, mystery, and surprises that make you want to keep playing, just to see how things unfold. You'll get attached to these characters and their personal struggles, and the twists will leave you wanting more. Combat in Persona 5 Royal is turn-based, but it's got a strategic edge that keeps things interesting. You summon your personas, basically magical creatures, to fight for you, and battles are all about exploiting enemy weaknesses and working together with your team. The game lets you mix and match personas, fuse them into new ones, and experiment with different strategies. It's deep, but super fun, especially when you start figuring out all the little tricks to beat tough enemies. But it's not just about fighting. The real charm of Persona 5 Royal is how you balance your daily life. You'll be managing your time, studying for exams, working part-time jobs, hanging out with friends, and of course being a phantom thief. It's all about making the right choices with your time and relationships, and those decisions affect how the story plays out. There's something satisfying about watching your character grow in all these little ways. Call of Juarez Gunslinger. Okay, so Call of Juarez Gunslinger. Picture this. You're in a dusty saloon, the kind with swinging doors and a piano player tinkling away in the corner. This grizzled old bounty hunter, Silas Greaves, walks in, orders a drink, and starts telling stories about his life. That's basically the whole game. It's framed as him recounting his adventures, and it's a really clever way to do it. What's really cool is that Silas isn't always the most reliable narrator. He tends to exaggerate things, and sometimes he even gets his facts mixed up. So the game actually changes based on what he says. He might be telling a story about fighting off a gang of outlaws, and then suddenly the game throws a whole bunch more enemies at you because, hey, that's how Silas remembers it. Or he might say he jumped across a huge chasm, and then the level design will suddenly change to include this impossible jump. It's a really fun and unpredictable way to experience the story. You're never quite sure what's real and what's just Silas's imagination. The gunfights are pretty great too. It's a solid Western shooter with all the classic weapons, revolvers, rifles, shotguns, the whole shebang. You can slow down time for some cool slow motion kills, and there are these duels where you have to be lightning fast on the draw. It's a satisfying and engaging combat system. It's not just about shooting. There's some strategy involved in how you use your weapons and when you use your special abilities. The game has a really distinct look too. It's got this stylized, almost comic book-like art style that really fits the over-the-top nature of Silas's stories. It's visually appealing and it gives the game a unique personality. It's not trying to be realistic, it's embracing the fun and exaggerated style of classic westerns. Call of Juarez Gunslinger isn't a massive epic game, but it's a really enjoyable and memorable experience. It's a fresh take on the western genre, and it's definitely worth a play if you're into shooters or just like a good fun story. It's a great game for when you just want to unwind and have a good time. It's a fun, quirky, and surprisingly clever game. Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Okay, so Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, it's a really clever puzzle game, but it's also a mystery. You play as a ghost, which is kind of cool, right? Your name is Sissel and you're dead, but you don't know how you died. So the whole game is about you trying to figure out who killed you. The way you play is pretty unique. Since you're a ghost, you can't just walk around. You have to possess things like lamps, bicycles, even a donut, and use them to mess with stuff. You might turn on a light to distract someone or move a chair to block their path. It's all about figuring out how to use the environment to solve these puzzles, and the puzzles are intertwined with the story. It's not just random puzzles, they're all connected to the mystery. You're trying to figure out what happened, and solving the puzzles is how you get clues. It's like a big, interactive detective story. The story itself is really interesting. It's not straightforward at all. It jumps around in time and you see things from different people's perspectives. It's like a jigsaw puzzle and you have to put all the pieces together to understand what's going on. There are a lot of twists and turns and it keeps you guessing. The characters are pretty quirky too. They're all memorable and they all have their own secrets. The dialogue is funny and witty and it really brings the characters to life. It's a fun cast. Honestly, Ghost Trick is just a really well-made game. It's clever, it's charming, and it's full of surprises. It's a unique experience that's hard to find anywhere else. If you like puzzle games or mysteries, you should definitely check it out. It's a game that makes you think, and it's a game that will stick with you after you're done. It's just a really enjoyable game. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Final Fantasy VII Remake might honestly be one of my all-time favorite RPGs. It just hits all the right spots. The graphics are so beautiful and the characters are even better. Tifa, Aerith, Jessie, Cloud. They're not just cool to look at, they actually feel real and memorable in a way most games don't pull off. I mean, this is a remake of a legendary 1997 game, and somehow it makes everything feel fresh while still respecting the original. The old version was great for its time, sure, but this remake, it takes that magic and cranks it up to 100. The combat is super fun too. It looks flashy, it feels smooth, and it's not one of those systems that makes you want to throw your controller. You get to pull off wild sword combos and huge spells while switching between your party in real time. It's just really satisfying. Plus, the game is pretty linear, which I actually love. It keeps the story tight and focused with just enough side stuff to make the world feel alive without dragging things out. And of course, when it comes to characters, Tifa and Aerith, they're both amazing. Tifa's tough and sweet, Aerith's playful but deep, and Cloud, well, he's the cool, broody dude with a giant sword. But seriously, the English voice acting is surprisingly great, like actually better than most other JRPGs I've played. It gives so much personality to every scene.
I have a favor to ask. Our beloved planet is dying.
And best part, which is the story. It starts off in Midgar, this dark industrial cyberpunk city where a mega corporation called Shinra is literally sucking the life out of the planet. Right away, the vibe is intense. Then you meet Cloud, giant sword, kind of cold at first, but as the game goes on, you start to understand him more. Also, the music, FF7 has some of the best soundtracks in gaming, and walking around Midgar, talking to people, seeing what they're going through, it gives the whole world so much weight. And by the end, man, it leaves you with chills. It wraps up just enough, but also makes you need to know what's coming next. This isn't just a remake, it's the start of something legendary all over again.
Let the winds caress you. You've got this.
Not looking good.
Mass Effect 2. Okay, so, like, I still remember booting up Mass Effect 2 for the first time and getting smacked right in the face. Shepard just dies in the first 5 minutes, like, straight up, boom, dead. I thought my save was broken or something, but nah. Turns out that's just how the game starts. Pretty cool, huh? Then, this shady group called Cerberus brings you back from the dead, yes really, and suddenly you're working with this sketchy guy in a suit who's got glowing eyes like a Bond villain. He's all, hey buddy, humanity's in danger, let's go. And you're just like, guess I'm in?
You could have trained an entire army for what you spent to bring me back.
You're unique.
But the real magic of Mass Effect 2, it's not even the aliens or the space stuff, it's the crew. Like, for real, the characters in this game are everything. You spend most of the game just building your team, finding these weird, cool, kind of broken people across the galaxy and trying to earn their trust. Everyone's got their own problems and it's your job to help fix them. You don't have to, but yeah, it won't be pretty for them. You got people like Garrus, the cool sniper dude who's basically Space Batman now, Jack, Thane, and Mordin. Everyone's got some deep story going on, and the more time you spend with them, the more you're like, dang, I actually care about these people.
Very model of a scientist Solarian.
The vibe of the game is so good too. It's moody, but not in a boring way. It's got that slick sci-fi feel where everything's a little dangerous, but also cool as hell. Plus, the conversations you have actually matter. You can piss people off, or fall in love, or totally mess things up and feel bad about it forever. And man, that final mission, the suicide mission, still one of the most stressful and awesome endings ever. You plan the whole thing, you assign roles, and if you mess up even a little bit, people die, like permanently. And when you make it through with everyone alive, it's the best feeling ever. Like you just beat the game and got your family through it. Kind of beautiful, not gonna lie. So yeah, Mass Effect 2 is more than just a space RPG. It's like a sci-fi drama mixed with found family vibes, sprinkled with intense choices and great voice acting. It's the kind of story that just stays with you. You finish the game and go, damn, I miss my crew already. Fallout New Vegas. You're a courier, minding your own business, delivering a package through the Mojave Desert. Easy job, right? Until some jerk in a checkered suit shoots you in the head and leaves you in a shallow grave. Yep, that's how this game starts. No dragons. No intro cutscene of your mom dying, just boom, you're dead. And then you wake up and everything goes downhill. Or uphill, depending how chaotic you want to play it. That's Fallout New Vegas in a nutshell. You start off small, just a dude or dudette trying to figure out why someone tried to kill you, but by the end, you're literally deciding the future of an entire region. Who controls New Vegas? What happens to the people living there? Who dies? Who thrives? And who gets absolutely nuked into the dirt? It's all on you. And yo, the writing? Top tier. Like, this isn't just some post-apocalyptic shooter with cool guns. This game is smart. You walk into every town or faction thinking you're gonna be the hero, and then suddenly you realize, wait, nobody is really the good guy here. The NCR wants to bring law and order, but kinda sucks at it. Caesar's Legion is basically Mad Max, but more evil. Mr. House is a creepy rich guy running Vegas like some kind of sci-fi casino mafia. And then there's you in the middle of it all, just vibing with a revolver and too many many choices. But it's the freedom that makes this story so unforgettable. You can lie your way out of fights, talk people into killing themselves, join factions, betray factions, or go full screw everyone, I run this place now mode. There's even a whole ending path where you tell all the factions to get lost and just take control yourself, like straight up main character energy. The world itself tells stories too. You'll stumble across burned towns with skeletons still holding each other, computer logs that break your heart, notes left behind by people who thought help was coming. It's the kind of game where exploration is storytelling. Even a random shack in the middle of nowhere could hit you with a mini tragedy. And the coolest part? You don't even have to follow the main story. Want to become a slum warlord? Go for it. Want to just gamble in Vegas and ignore the apocalypse? Knock yourself out. This game gives you the tools, hands you a dusty world full of chaos and politics and weirdos, and just says, do your thing. Cyberpunk 2077.
Regards. So you're gonna consider my offer now?
Now, Cyberpunk story here is just a regular dude or girl in Night City trying to make it big. That's it. That's the dream. Get rich, get famous, live fast, look cool doing it. But of course, it all goes sideways so fast. You do one job, and suddenly you've got a biochip stuck in your head with a digital ghost living in your brain, and that ghost is Johnny Silverhand, a rock star terrorist played by Keanu Reeves, who's kinda a jerk, but also kinda awesome. And now you've got two problems. One, you're dying, and two, he's trying to take over your body. So yeah, not great.
Fruit creeping into you. Nothing I can do about it.
But here's what makes this game hit different. It's not really about saving the world, it's about you. It's about what you do when your time's running out, who you choose to be, who you fight for, who you fall in love with, and whether or not you want to leave anything behind when you're gone. The world of Night City is insane. Neon everywhere, cops, gangs, rich corpos, broken down slums, robot hookers, talking vending machines. It's all here. Every street feels alive. You just walk around and you feel like you're really there. Like you could grab a drink, start a fight, or just ride your bike at night while some sad synth music plays. Honestly, sometimes that's the best part. And the characters, straight up bangers. Panem is this badass nomad girl who's ride or die once you earn her trust. Judy is super sweet, but also dealing with a lot of pain. River is a chill detective type. Carrie is Johnny's old bandmate and full of drama. And speaking of Johnny, he grows on you. At first he's all burn it all down, but over time you see this broken, angry dude who just didn't want to be forgotten. Kinda heartbreaking, honestly. The writing is deep. Like there are moments where you're just sitting on a rooftop talking about life and a cat, if you know what I mean, and it hits. You start out thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be rich and famous, and by the end you're like, man, I just want someone to remember me. The game gives you different endings too, some hopeful, some rough, some just bittersweet as hell, and every single one feels earned, based on your choices, how you treated people, and how close you got to them.
Think this is it, kiddo?
Yes. So.
Promise me one thing, will you?
I promise. No idea what, but I promise.
Spider-Man 2018. The one that made everyone feel like a total boss swinging through New York City. I mean, if you ever dreamed of being Spider-Man as a kid, or, you know, even as an adult, this is pretty much the closest you'll ever get. The game nails that feeling of being Spidey down to a T. First off, swinging through the city is just fun. Like seriously, it's so smooth and satisfying. You'll find yourself just swinging around, doing flips, and zipping through skyscrapers like it's no big deal. It's not just some gimmick, it's actually the best part of the game. You'll be catching yourself thinking, dang, this is so awesome every time you swing. You almost forget about the rest of the game because you could do this for hours. Now the story, it's solid. You've got Peter Parker dealing with the classic Spider-Man life balance, fighting villains, saving the city, and still trying to keep his personal life together. You got some heavy hitters like Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, and Mr. Negative, and they really flesh out the character of Peter Parker too, which makes you care about him even more. It's not just about the action. It's about the guy behind the mask and the struggle to keep his life together while saving the world. The combat is, oh man, it's smooth. You're dodging attacks, throwing punches, kicking enemies into walls, and webbing them up like a pro. You feel like you're in a fight scene from a Spider-Man movie, and it never gets old. You're not just a punching bag for bad guys, you're a badass, taking them down in style. The visuals are gorgeous too. New York feels alive. It's a massive playground full of little details, from the crowds on the streets to the gorgeous skyline at sunset. You'll catch yourself stopping mid-swing just to appreciate how freaking good everything looks. And then the upgrades. You get to customize your suits and abilities so you can mix things up and really feel like you're evolving as Spider-Man. Plus, the variety of suits is awesome. You got everything from the classic red and blue to some really unique designs from the comics. It's like Halloween, but every day. So yeah, Spider-Man 2018 is pretty much a dream come true for any Spidey fan. Great story, awesome gameplay, and the feeling of actually being Spider-Man in a living, breathing New York City. If you haven't played it yet, do yourself a favor, swing into this one. You won't regret it.
Shipping containers. Explains how foreign nationals with criminal records are getting into the country.
The Last of Us. Oh man, where do I even start? This game is a masterpiece. It's not just a game, it's an emotional journey, a roller coaster that yanks you around with highs and lows, leaving you wrecked by the end. This isn't some mindless shooter where you run around blowing stuff up. Nah, this game punches you in the gut with a story that stays with you long after the credits roll. The main characters, Joel and Ellie, are what make The Last of Us unforgettable. Joel's a grizzled, broken man who's seen the worst of what the post-apocalyptic world has to offer. He's cold, tough, and doesn't trust anyone. Ellie, on the other hand, is this young, tough-as-nails girl who's grown up in a world where survival is all that matters. The bond that forms between them over the course of the game is the heart and soul of the story. It's like you're watching a father-daughter relationship evolve in real time, and by the end you feel like you've been through every damn moment with them. Now, the setting. It's gorgeous and haunting at the same time. You're dropped into a world where humanity's been almost wiped out by a fungal infection, and nature has slowly started to reclaim the earth. Cities are in ruins, animals are back, and plants are creeping through cracked concrete. But it's not just about the world being cool to look at, it's about how everything tells a story. You can walk through an abandoned shopping mall, and just by looking around, you can feel the history of it all. There's so much detail that it pulls you in and makes you forget that you're playing a game. And the gameplay? It's brutal. The combat in The Last of Us is intense, tense, and sometimes downright terrifying. Ammo is scarce, so you have to be smart about how you approach situations. Do you sneak past the enemies, or do you go in guns blazing? Spoiler, you're probably gonna screw up at least once and get caught in a fight you can't win. The clickers, those infected dudes that make that creepy clicking noise, are nightmare fuel, and they'll make you sweat bullets when you're trying to sneak around them. But the game isn't just about killing zombies, it's about surviving, it's about sacrifice, and it's about the weight of your choices. The emotional roller coaster that is The Last of Us never lets up. You'll feel joy, you'll feel pain, and you'll be so attached to these characters by the end that you'll find yourself thinking about them long after you finish the game. Dying Light. It's like if you took parkour, zombies, and a whole lot of adrenaline, threw them into a blender, and turned it up to max. It's an open world zombie apocalypse game, but with a twist. You're not just creeping around looking for supplies. Nah, you're running, jumping, and climbing all over the place like some kind of zombie fighting ninja. First off, the parkour is smooth as butter. You'll be running through the streets, vaulting over fences, sliding under trucks, and just straight up leaping off buildings like you got superpowers. Seriously, it feels so good to parkour in this game. It's not just about surviving the apocalypse. It's about looking freaking awesome while doing it. You'll find yourself climbing up skyscrapers, doing flips off the side, and then boom, down into a zombie-filled street with a sick weapon in hand, ready to take on the horde. The zombies? Well, they're scary as heck. During the day, they're pretty slow and easy to handle. You can sneak around, do your thing, scavenge, and get stuff done. But once the sun sets, oh boy, it's a different story. Nighttime in Dying Light is when the game really kicks it into high gear. The infected become faster, more aggressive, and there are some real freaky ones out there that'll make you wish you had a better flashlight. You can't just casually stroll around at night. You gotta hustle, find safe zones, and pray you make it through the night alive. It's intense, and it adds this real sense of danger and excitement that a lot of other zombie games don't have. The combat is also top-notch. You've got a variety of weapons at your disposal, everything from bats and knives to shotguns and katanas. You can upgrade and modify them to make them even more badass, like adding electric mods or fire effects to turn your weapons into freaking tools of mass destruction. Plus, you can swing those weapons like you're trying to take down the whole freaking zombie army, and the combat feels smooth and satisfying. When you take down a group of zombies, it's like you're in your own action movie, except instead of a cool one-liner, you're just covered in blood and grinning like a maniac. There's also this sense of freedom in Dying Light. The world is huge and there's always something to do. You're constantly unlocking new areas, finding new people, and encountering side quests that add layers to the story. It's one of those games where you just want to keep exploring because you never know what you're gonna find. Maybe it's a cool weapon stash, maybe it's a horde of zombies, or maybe it's just a random group of survivors who need help. Either way, the world feels alive, even if the majority of it is crawling with the undead. Spec Ops: The Line. Let's just get this out of the way. This game is a gut punch. You play as Captain Martin Walker, leading a group of soldiers into a sandstorm ravaged Dubai to find out what happened to a US military battalion that went rogue. Sounds simple enough, right? Just go in, find them, and get out. But yeah, no, that would be way too easy. The deeper you get into the story, the more twisted things become, and that's when Spec Ops: The Line really hits you. The thing about this game is that it's not just about shooting dudes. Oh, you do plenty of that, but the story and the choices you make carry so much weight. The game doesn't shy away from showing you the horrors of war hell. It throws them in your face. You're not a hero in this story, you're a soldier stuck in a moral nightmare, where every choice seems to make things worse, and you don't always know if what you're doing is right. And let's talk about the atmosphere. The setting of Dubai is haunting. It's this beautiful, once glittering city that's now been turned into a war-torn hellscape, and it's eerie. The sandstorm tearing through the city adds to the chaos, and it just feels like everything around you is falling apart. It's like you're walking through a nightmare, and every corner feels like it could hold something truly messed up. Then there's the gunplay. It's smooth and satisfying, but you're not playing this for the mechanics. It's fun to blow stuff up and take out enemies, but the real draw is how the game messes with your psyche. There's a moment halfway through where the game takes a huge turn, and without giving spoilers, let's just say you'll never look at Spec Ops: The Line the same way again after that. It'll make you question every decision you've made up until that point.
I'm gonna kill every last one of your men.
What's genius about Spec Ops: The Line is how it subverts the typical heroic soldier narrative we see in a lot of games. It shows you the dark side of war and the consequences of blind obedience. It forces you to grapple with your actions and the impact they have, not just on the people around you, but on your own soul. There's this slow burn throughout the game, and by the time you reach the end, it's like your brain is trying to catch up with everything that's just gone down. The real kicker is that the game doesn't give you easy answers. There's no good guy versus bad guy thing here. You're not playing as the White Knight trying to save the day. You're a guy caught in a system that's broken, and the game doesn't let you forget it. It's brutal, it's uncomfortable, and it will stick with you long after the credits roll. So yeah, Spec Ops: The Line isn't just a shooter, it's a story-driven experience that forces you to confront the ugly side of war. It's got action, but it's also got a narrative that'll leave you feeling heavy, like you just went through something real. If you want a game that's gonna mess with your head and make you think, this is the one. It's one of those rare titles that really shows you what video games can do when they decide to tell a serious, impactful story. You won't regret playing it, but you might not look at the world the same way after.